What if I told you the most famous celebrity rings were never really theirs? The giant diamonds you see on red carpets, the ones fans think are forever symbols of love. Many of them are only borrowed. A secret system runs behind Hollywood's glitter. Jewelers hand out million-dollar rings like costumes. Guards follow the stars. Insurance papers cover every stone. And before sunrise, most of those rings go straight back to the vault. This game began in the 1940s when stars at the Oscars wore borrowed jewels to look richer than they really were. And it never stopped. Today, most shocking celebrity rings are loaned, copied, or even replaced with replicas. The public sees romance, but behind the scenes, it is business. Think of Elizabeth Taylor showing off a 69-carat diamond so huge Cartier had to turn it into a necklace. Think of Kim Kardashian robbed in Paris now wearing only a fake copy for safety. So here's the truth. What happens when the ring that defines a marriage, a headline, or even a breakup isn't real at all? In the next few minutes, you'll see how Hollywood turned love into marketing and why the system has been rigged from the start. Fans believe a celebrity ring means love and forever, but that belief is built on a lie. On the red carpet, every flash catches a giant diamond. The world gasps, thinking it marks a real engagement, but the hidden truth is brutal. Many of these shining stones are not owned at all. They are loaned by jewelers for one night of attention. They are wrapped in insurance, escorted by guards, and then returned before the sun even rises. What dazzles under flashing cameras may never even reach the celebrity's own home. A ring worth $10 million can vanish back into a vault by dawn, as if it never existed. For the audience, the story is romance. For the insiders, the story is marketing. This is why fans cry over celebrity proposals, but the industry quietly smiles because every photo is free advertising for the jeweler. The emotion is real. The diamonds are not. That is the painful twist behind the sparkle. One night, one ring, one illusion of forever. And while today's fans may think it's a modern trick, the truth reaches back decades. This game began in Hollywood's golden age, when cameras first learned that jewelry could tell stories bigger than love. The red carpet trick didn't start today. It began in 1944. That year at the Oscars, jewelers quietly began lending diamonds to actresses. The stars walked the stage as if they owned them. But once the lights dimmed, the stones went straight back to the vault. It was the start of a new pattern. Rings were no longer just personal treasures. They became props, staged with the gowns and hair. The audience quickly learned to connect glamour with borrowed jewels. And then came the woman who hardwired the obsession, Elizabeth Taylor. She turned jewelry into global headlines. Her Krupp diamond, a 33.19 carat stone, was already a legend. But the real shock was the Taylor Burton diamond, 69.42 carats. So massive, Cartier had to remount it as a necklace. It wasn't just an accessory, it was a cultural event. Every step she took with that stone rewrote the rules. From then on, rings weren't only heirlooms passed through families. They became tools of power, status symbols designed to grab attention as loudly as films or scandals. Hollywood had discovered that a single ring could carry more weight than a script. And once the media realized these stones could spark headlines, the cycle never slowed down. Behind the sparkle, a system was forming. Jewelers, insurers, and publicists all working together to turn diamonds into stories. That machine didn't just protect the gems. It fueled an industry where illusion was more valuable than ownership. And as the years passed, that hidden structure grew strong enough to control every ring the public thought they knew. By the 2000s, the red carpet had become a battlefield of strategy. Every major star walked in with rings worth six figures, handpicked by professional stylists. These pieces weren't chosen for love. They were chosen for impact, for how big a headline they could create in a single photo. Behind the shine was an entire machine. Contracts outlined every detail: who carried the stone, how long it could be worn, and when it had to be returned. Insurance chains followed each ring, with policies running into the millions, and security guards often sat just a few steps away, watching the diamond more closely than the star who wore it. For the fans, every glittering stone looked like a love story. For the industry, it was a matter of liability. Each ring was treated less like a promise and more like a corporate asset. The star smiled for the camera, but lawyers kept the paperwork ready. And here's the strangest twist. Many times, the real ring wasn't even on the carpet. The actual stone stayed locked in a vault. What sparkled on the actress's hand was a carefully made replica, created to fool the cameras while protecting the real fortune. The audience saw romance, the brand saw publicity, and the jewelers saw safety. What no one saw was the illusion tightening its grip year after year. By then, the red carpet wasn't just fashion, it was a controlled stage, guarded by lawyers, escorts, and insurance firms. But illusions never hold forever. And when this system cracked in front of the world, it sent shockwaves through Hollywood. The night everything changed came in October 2016. In Paris, during Fashion Week, Kim Kardashian was trapped in a nightmare. Armed men broke into her private apartment. They tied her up, threatened her life, and left her shaken on the floor. What they wanted wasn't cash. It was her ring. A Lorraine Schwartz diamond worth $4.5 million vanished that night. The heist shocked the entire world. It wasn't just a robbery, it was a turning point for celebrity jewelry. If Kim, with her wealth and security, could be stripped of her diamond, then no star was safe. From that night on, fear changed the rules. Red carpets still needed their glitter, but real stones became too dangerous. Celebrities began wearing replicas, crafted to look flawless under camera flashes. The originals stayed locked away, hidden in vaults or guarded rooms. The audience saw sparkle, but many times it wasn't real. For fans, the illusion looked the same. For stars, it was the only way to feel secure. Even today, Kim's public rings are often copies, while the real treasures remain out of sight. The Paris heist proved the price of exposure was higher than the price of the stone itself. It forced the industry to admit a new truth. Sometimes the most famous jewelry on earth isn't authentic at all. What was once about ownership had become about safety, and what once stood for romance had become a line item in risk management. But if replicas rule the spotlight now, another question rises. What about the money behind these rings? Where does the real value flow when love is staged, security is tight, and jewels may not even exist outside the cameras? After the Paris heist, the game of celebrity rings changed forever. Real diamonds were no longer safe in public. From then on, the rule was simple. Vault the originals, show the replicas. By the late 2000s, jewelers quietly replaced priceless stones with stand-in copies, flawless under camera lights but worthless in a pawn shop. The public never noticed. The sparkle looked the same. Even Kim Kardashian returned to the spotlight with replicas. Her comeback campaigns showed her glowing with massive rings, but the true diamonds stayed locked away. The illusion worked. It always does. Because for ads, for red carpets, for headlines, appearance is everything. And the industry knows it. In 2025, Vogue France featured Kim once again. This time with Cartier diamonds under full-time guard. Each stone was followed by security, treated more like a political leader than a fashion accessory. The audience saw glamour, but behind the scenes, what mattered most was control. Vaults, escorts, and contracts. They still believed in romance. They still clicked, shared, and dreamed. The illusion still sold. But here's the twist. What you see on Instagram may never exist on a real finger. A $10 million stone on the feed might be a replica shining under studio lights. The truth is hidden in safes, guarded by contracts and insurers, far away from the spotlight. By now, the industry wasn't only selling jewelry, it was selling confidence in an illusion. And illusions only last until markets expose them. Because once these stones leave the stage and hit the resale market, the truth about ownership finally comes to light. The resale market ripped the mask off the diamond illusion. One of the clearest cases came with Mariah Carey. She once wore a 35-carat ring said to be worth $10 million. It lit up magazines. It symbolized forever. But when the romance ended, the story collapsed. That same diamond sold for just over $2.1 million. $8 million in value vanished the moment the cameras stopped caring. This is the brutal money math of celebrity jewelry. The sparkle is priceless on a red carpet, but off it, the price can fall like glass. Once separated from the moment, even the most famous stones lose their magic. A forever ring can lose millions as soon as it enters the real market. What the public thought was eternal love is often just a short-lived headline. And that's the conflict no jeweler wants exposed. The myth says diamonds never lose their value, but the truth is written in auctions. Hype sells higher than carats, and when hype dies, so does the price. For stars, this collapse is humiliating. For fans, it's heartbreaking. And for the industry, it is simply business. Because the red carpet was never about lasting worth. It was about creating a flash so bright that no one stopped to ask what happened later. The illusion of forever collides with the brutal math of resale. And in that collision, millions are lost. Yet someone still walks away with profit, which leaves the real mystery hanging in the air. Who actually wins in this game of diamonds? In the auction world, size doesn't always decide the price. Story does. Take Grace Kelly's Cartier ring. It wasn't just a diamond. It was tied to her marriage with the Prince of Monaco. That connection turned it into a piece of royal history. Today, it's worth tens of millions, not because of carats alone, but because of its pedigree. The lesson is clear. A museum-quality story can outlive even the largest stone. While other celebrity rings lose value, Grace Kelly's only grows. Because collectors aren't just buying jewels, they're buying myths that never fade. That's the brutal split between public fantasy and market reality. The public judges by the sparkle, the headline, the love story. But auctions judge by provenance, the chain of history that gives a ring power beyond size. It's why some stones collapse once separated from their owners, while others rise to the level of priceless artifacts. Love may fade, but if the story survives, the stone does too. This twist flips the entire game. The public believes diamonds are forever because of their beauty. The markets know diamonds are forever only if the myth stays alive. Every ring tells two stories: the romance the world remembers and the pedigree that collectors pay for. And when love ends, courts and contracts decide where those rings go, which brings the game to its final battlefield, the law. Because when marriages collapse, the fight over who keeps the ring can be uglier than the breakup itself. When love fails, the law decides who keeps the diamond. In the United States, engagement rings are often treated as conditional gifts. That means the ring only belongs to the recipient if the wedding actually happens. If the marriage is called off, most states say the ring must go back. In 2024, Massachusetts made the rule even clearer. A high-profile case confirmed that when no wedding takes place, the ring is legally returned, no matter how expensive or sentimental it was. But the courtroom isn't the only power. By 2025, brands themselves had started shaping these outcomes. When Jennifer Lopez finalized her divorce, she kept her 8.5-carat green diamond. The decision wasn't just personal. It became a media flashpoint, tied as much to contracts and publicity as to romance. They saw it as resilience, proof that even broken marriages leave symbols behind. But behind the sparkle, something colder was at play. Brands and courts were now determining the destiny of rings as much as couples did. A stone once seen as the ultimate sign of private love had become property moved around by judges, lawyers, and marketing teams. This was the final twist. Celebrity rings were no longer about ownership at all. They had become tools, controlled by law, guarded by vaults, staged by brands, and consumed by audiences. The illusion of romance was still sold to the public, but the real power sat in contracts, rulings, and campaigns. And that leads straight to the uncomfortable truth the industry never says out loud. Celebrity rings are not love stories. They are business stories dressed in sparkle. The most famous rings in Hollywood are rarely what they seem. They are marketing tools, insured assets, and often perfect replicas. Hardly the forever love symbols fans dream about. What dazzles on the red carpet is not romance. It is business, staged to look eternal under flashing cameras. From Elizabeth Taylor's 69-carat spectacle to Kim Kardashian's stolen stone in Paris, the illusion has cracked again and again. The truth is impossible to ignore. The hidden secret no one admits is that most celebrity rings are not love stories at all. They are contracts disguised as passion, props dressed as forever. So the next time you see a $10 million sparkle, ask yourself, is it even theirs? Celebrity rings tell a story, but often not the one fans believe. Behind the sparkle are contracts, insurance, guards, vaults, and laws, not fairy tales of forever. Every so-called symbol of love doubles as a business tool, traded and protected like any other asset. That is the hidden layer of Hollywood glamour. Subscribe for more investigations into the secrets behind fame, fortune, and spectacle. And tell us in the comments, what shocked you more? That Mariah Carey's $10 million ring sold for pennies on the dollar, or that Kim Kardashian often wears a replica?